Hello, everybody. We are live again. We are live. We are live. We are live. So, as we are waiting for people to join, let me serenade the moment, the environment, okay? I'm trying to. Excuse me. Welcome, welcome. As you're joining, tell us your name and where you're joining from. And also just go to the group and type we are live, so that others can join us. It's going to be an amazing moment today. Okay. Good day, everybody. Hello. We are live again. Boom! Welcome again to another eye-opening webinar today. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful one. Okay, I want to especially welcome you again. In this webinar, we'll be learning more, like something very critical, very, very critical. Like if you are going to have good real estate success, you need to start with this, knowing how to identify genuine properties. Are there genuine properties in Nigeria? Absolutely yes. So how do you identify them? We are going to be discussing it, dissecting it pattern by pattern in parts this webinar. Okay, so this webinar is going to be in two parts because I don't want to rush into anything or not break down things so much. So I'm going to take the first part today, then next week Monday we are going to be having a deep dive on due diligence, step by step how to do due diligence. Okay, but today we are going to be talking about how you can literally know from the get-go that this property, okay, it's okay or it is not from the instant. Okay, are we ready? If you're ready, type yes, I'm ready in the comment section so I know you're already here with us. If you're ready, type yes in the comment section. If you're ready, type yes in the comment section. Are we here? Are you ready for today's class? Are you ready for this eye-opening webinar? Type yes in the comment section. I can't see anybody. Are we here? Are we here? Are we ready to roll? Type yes in the comment section so I know that we are on the same page. Okay, I can see you now. Welcome, Super C. Welcome. All right, let's roll. But before I get into it, I need to address something today as well. I want you to understand something. See, in Nigeria, you can make safe investments. There are people making safe investments in Nigeria. The only thing that needs to change first is your mindset towards investing in Nigeria. Because guess what? Whatever you think about more is what you attract. Not all investments are scam. But if you're going into real estate with the mindset that it's scam, it's scam, guess what? You just keep on attracting those scams. And that is not even what you want. You get? So you need to first of all change your mindset towards investing in Nigeria. There are very good, legit properties in Nigeria. All you need to do is just do the right thing and you can get them. You get started immediately. Okay? And the second thing I need you to understand is, you see, the fear factor It can be a good one for you. It can also be like a very, very limiting factor for you, especially when it comes to real estate. There are a lot of things, of course, there are a lot of things in the market that can make you actually get scared to invest, especially for first time investors. But you see, if you allow that fear to, guide you, those emotions guide you, you will be limiting yourself from the opportunities that you could have been taking advantage of and be helping your financial life from it. Okay, so the only thing you need to do is just to take the risk and mitigate this risk by simply taking the necessary steps from the get-go, doing it right the first time so that you don't have to come back to it. Okay, I'm going to be dissecting, like talking deeper into what you need to do right from the get-go, so you don't come back to stories in your property, or after investing you come back to stories. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. Okay, now I also want to address first time investors. First time investors, I need you to fear not. Okay, is I understand, like I really, really understand now how it feels to make your first investment. Because I mean, that's fear of, are you sure I'm doing the right thing? Are you sure this thing is no scam? Are you sure my money will not lose? Oh God, I understand you so much. But guess what? You shouldn't let that limit you. You need to start taking the bold steps. All you need to do is do the right thing from the get-go. Do the right thing the first time so you don't come back to it. Okay? So this webinar today definitely is for you if you do not want to get scammed trying to invest. It is also for you if you do not want to come back to stories in your investment. That is, you are finished buying property and then years later another story comes in. If you do not want that in your investment journey, this webinar is definitely for you. If you don't fall into any of these categories, I mean, there is no need you staying here, because definitely this, what we are trying to address is how to invest, get genuine properties, how to really know these genuine properties and invest from the get-go without getting scammed, and also getting it right the first time. Okay, so today's webinar is going to be a mind-blowing one. Definitely is going to be a mind-blowing one. What if I show you exactly how to actually identify, how to really just see a property and be like, no, this one, something there, this one cannot be true. Like, you literally can sieve out properties and invest in the right one. What if I show you how to start doing that like a pro, even if you're investing for the first time? Would you pay attention to this webinar and actually take points, take note of everything that is going to be said in this webinar today? Would you pay attention? I need to hear your answers in the comment section. Would you leave all form of distraction and actually pay attention to today's webinar? Take note of everything so you can start getting it right from the get-go. Would you? Type yes in the comment section if you are here with me and you agree with this, paying attention to the end of this class and taking note of everything so you can, make the right investment from the get-go. Okay? So about this webinar, the VIP Investors Webinar, we have these webinars every week. Every single week, we come on here and we talk about investing right and investing for passive income stream in your real estate investment. Actually, how to position yourself to start making money from your investment and not just dumping money on ground and not making money from it. Okay? So what do we have to say? Like, what is this VIP Investors Webinar all about? So in my 3 years of actually helping young entrepreneurs make passive income through their real estate investments, I have found out that many of our investors really, before they came to us, do not even know where to start. They literally cannot even know the right properties in the market, find the new properties, and actually position themselves for passive income in their investments. Mainly because this is like their very first time investing in real estate. Okay. The second thing I also find out is that there are people that they have been investing in real estate, but mainly like the investments they are making are not really making them money. And what is really the essence of an investment if it is not making you passive income? An investment cannot really be an investment until it start making you passive income. Okay, so I found out that most of our investors also they are still investing, but these investments are not making them passive income because they are literally not positioning themselves to make passive income from their investments. Okay. The third thing I also found out is that some of our investors they have been investing, they have strategy for passive income streams on their investment. But the problem now has been how to actually find these genuine properties that suit their own specific real estate goal. Okay, so what we actually do here is actually to help you, equip you with the right knowledge and skill to navigate the industry, to find the right properties in the market, and also position yourself for passive income stream in your investment. That is why I and my team have come up with every week webinar. Every week, every Monday, we come on here to talk about these thriving issues in the real estate industry and also thriving issues pertaining investing in Nigeria so that you can literally go on there, and make good investments in your real estate investment. Okay, so that is what the VIP Investors Webinar is all about. Okay, now let's get right into what we have for today. Today, we are going to be addressing a thriving issue. Like I said, so this webinar is not going to be a very long one. I'm going to just be taking it bit by bit. The due diligence webinar is a whole class on its own. So it's going to come to like next week, Monday. So we are going to just start bit by bit so we can dive into the things that you really need to know and also have time for you to actually ask your questions and get it addressed in this webinar. Okay, so if you have any questions about real estate at all, just drop it on the comment section, drop it on the live stream. I'm going to attend to all of them before we end this stream. Okay, so this webinar is definitely just going to be about 30 minutes and then we'll start answering questions. So the first thing first, how do you identify genuine properties in Nigeria to invest in? So the first place wahala used to start is when you do not buy from people that actually have the right to ownership. Okay, that is where the first problem is. People faking the right to ownership. Because see, this is how the real estate law works. If someone does not have the right to ownership or the right to sell, the person cannot transfer a right to ownership, even if they give you a deed of assignment. Okay, that transfer they did will be null and void because they do not have the right to ownership. So where the first problem used to start is when you do not invest with people that have the right to ownership. So before you invest, you need to ask questions about ownership. Ownership. Who owns this property? Who owns this property? Is it a customary ownership or a second generation ownership, or is it someone that has a power of attorney to sell? I'm going to explain these different things to you now. So the first generation, like let me tell you a story first. Few weeks ago, I had a client that wanted to buy a property in Enugu, and it was in Ekas. So we started asking questions about this with the realtor that introduced this property to us, as in like is the person that is selling. So we set a meeting with the people that actually we are claiming they had the right to own, like they are the ones that own the property. Guess what? As we started this meeting, we started asking questions, detailed questions to actually get to the root of that ownership. Who owns this land? How did you acquire it? Is it registered? Is it surveyed? Let's meet the family. Guess what? As we are drilling them with questions, the person that was there was like, you know what? See, it's not like I am the person that owns this property. Oh. I am the elder brother to the person that owns the property. Stories don't they change, you get? So when you start asking questions about ownership, you will start getting stories. a lot of stories that will make you connect dots. I'm like, no, something is fishy here. Okay. So as they started changing mouths, I told my clients, you know what? Don't worry. Let's just use this. So this thing they brought, because they gave us the survey of that land. Let me just use this survey and go and do an investigation on this property. Guess what? I've not even started an investigation. I just went to the Ministry of Land to check the survey, and I'll actually know if this thing they say that is registered, if it's actually registered. I went to the Ministry of Land to check if survey is started and registered. Guess what? Survey was not started. It was not registered. They just had a plain. Okay, the people that were there like, they might have surveyed the place, so but they have not deposited the copy. That's a cloth copy of that survey, which happens some of the time. But even at that, you will know the person that surveyed that place if the place was surveyed. So I ask questions. Okay, see the name of the surveyor that is in this survey. Can I get the contact of this surveyor so I can get more information about this property? I collected the contact. And I called surveyor. Surveyor now gave me a name of the person that I can actually go with to take me to the family of the people that owns that property. So I called the person that said that now we own a mona because because a lot of this happened actually. I called the person, I'm like, okay, so I want to ask you a question. Though. Who is I just called the person's name. They don't know. How can you be the owner of a property and you don't even know the real person that like really, really did something in your property? Who is nobody knows. Like after deep investigation, guess how many the stories that we are unraveling through this investigation, we've not even gone deep. I just knew that. I just my client, you know what? Just come out of that place because what's that garage? There is no road there. Once you start hearing stories upon stories, when you start asking about the ownership of a property, just know there are something fishy there. There is definitely something fishy. Especially when you're trying to buy from a customary owner. Who is a customary owner? A customary owner is the first people that owns this property. Like it is their heritage from time immemorial. Do you get? That is like when you go to a village, or because guess what? Every city you see like now started from a village. So every city still has the customary owner of that place before second generation, third generation, fourth generation people start buying it. Okay, so a customary owner is a person that has the heritage ownership of that place. They are the people, the what do we call them? The ancestors of a particular location. That is what we call a customary owner. So when you're buying from a customary owner, you need to really, really, really ask questions about the ownership because most of the time it's either is a family that owns it or a community on its own that owns it. It is rarely someone, a single person that owns acres of land when it comes to customary owner. It happens that a single person can have acres of land, but most of the times it's usually a family something. That is why when you're buying from customary owners, you have to have signature of every family member that actually have the rights of ownership to that property penned down in your deed of assignment. And guess what? Anyway, as we progress, we will talk about the documents that they usually give and how you can mitigate getting the right one. Okay, so that's it for the customary owner. Then the second generational owner is the first person that bought from a customary owner. That is like people. This person has an acre of land. This is their heritage acre of land, and then someone now came and bought this acre of land. The person is called a second generation owner. Most of the time, real estate developers become second generation owners. Most of the time, very high profile people also become second generation owner. Most of the times, even individuals go and buy directly from communities, and they are the second generational owners. So if you now come to buy from these people, you are the third generation owner, the fourth generation owner, depending on where you hit. Okay, so how do you know this generation of ownership? It is through the documents you actually get. Through the documents you get. Now, it is very important to read. That's why if you listen to one of my videos, I was talking about the reciter. The recital tells you the generation of ownership of a property. It's very important to know this recital and can easily trace the ownership of a property you want to buy through this recital, because it will help you really investigate the ownership of a property. Okay? If you just read a recital, it's telling you, okay, this land originally belongs to these people of this community or people of this family. Then Mr. A now came and bought from this community. Okay, Mr. A now, after buying, now sold to Mr. O. Okay, and Mr. O now sold to you. You need to trace that generation of ownership to be sure that, you see, in all of these there is no breakage anywhere. Okay, so that you know that once they are transferring ownership to you, they have the right to transfer and your ownership is valid. Okay, that's the first thing. Then the power of attorney. Someone contacted me few days ago and said that I bought a property and they gave me power of attorney as the document. I'm like, okay, is it only power of attorney that you are giving? They said yes, power of attorney. I'm like, see, we need to, anyway, we are coming to that. Power of attorney is not really a document like that transfers ownership to you. In fact, in the eyes of the law, power of attorney is more like a receipt, like an acknowledgement. Do you get? Power of attorney is something that let me illustrate this to you. You own a property. Imagine you own a property, and in the state you own the property, you're not usually physically present in that state. So, and you know that most of the time you don't even know like how long it will take you before you come to that state again. So, in order to be sure that whenever you want, someone is there to manage that property for you, someone is there to check on that property for you, someone is there to, if they are farming on that land, to check on that farmland for you and all of that, you give a power of attorney to the person saying yes. So power of attorney simply says, this is my land, but I'm giving, let's say, Mr. C the right to either manage this land, okay, or either manage and sell. So power of attorney is either specific or general. Someone can give you a power of attorney and say, I don't want you to sell this land though, I just want you to manage it. See, these acres of land, just be managing it for me. And that is what that power of attorney is signifying. Okay? Someone can give someone a power of attorney and say, yes, so manage it for me, but whenever I want to sell, I also give you the right to sell it too. So the person have the power to manage and the person have the power to sell. So when you're buying a property that has a power of attorney, you need to check which authority was actually given to the person through that power of attorney. Is he an authority to manage, or is he an authority to manage and sell? Do you understand? So even when the person is selling that property, the document they give you is not just a power of attorney. In fact, they don't even give you a power of attorney because they're not giving you a power of attorney to do anything. What they give instead is an irrevocable power of attorney. When they're selling a property with power of attorney that has the right to sell. Do you understand? The right to sell. So when the person even wants the person to sell, they also give you a deed of assignment. They will also give you a deed of assignment because the person that has the power of attorney is not even the person that owns it. He just has the power from the person that owns it to sell to you. Okay? So the person that owns it will also give him the power to actually transfer ownership if he wants, or he does it himself. Okay? So they might just transfer the document, the person pens his signature and then transfers back to you. Or he simply just gives the person the power to pen his signature and transfer this ownership. That is power of attorney. So power of attorney is not a document that transfers ownership to you. It's a document of authorization to somebody to either sell a property or to manage a property. Do you understand? Do we understand? If you are following, please type yes in the comment section. Type yes in the comment section if you are following this class. I need to know that we are in the same page. Okay? If you're following, type yes in the comment section. Are we here? Are we here? Okay, let's just continue, okay? So, the second thing you also need to know, the second thing you need to really, really take very much into consideration is when you figure out who owns this property, you need to know first, how are they transferring this ownership to you when you buy? Like I said, this class is not going to be a very long class. I don't want it to be a very long class. Okay, so how are you going to know that this person is going to transfer ownership to you? What documents will they give you upon purchase? This is a very, very important one. When it comes to ownership, you need to really verify and rectify that one. So that it's not when you put your money, they now come and start telling, no, we're not giving you this document though. We are giving you that document. Okay, so that one is the cocoa, because I've gotten a lot of messages. I bought a property, oh, and someone they just gave me deed of lease, and they now told me that in this deed of lease I'll be paying money every year. Did I really buy the property or did I really lease the property? These things can be mitigated from the very first, from the get-go. Do you get? These things can be mitigated from the get-go. Who is transferring that ownership to you? Who has the right to transfer that ownership to you? You need to verify how they are going to transfer the ownership to you. How do they intend to transfer this ownership to you? See, mind you, whenever you go to buy a property, you're not really buying that property. You are buying the right to own that property. So this is a very important part of the transaction, and it needs to be addressed on the get-go, even before the transaction is made. How are you going to transfer this ownership to me? Because this is actually what I am paying for. That land has been there since how many years? You just came to buy it, and you're not really buying that land because it's not going anywhere with you. You're buying the right of ownership to that land. So who is transferring this ownership to me? What documents are they using to transfer it to me? Some people will tell you, okay, we'll give you receipts, we'll give you allocation from village, we'll give you what else? Letter of allocation, we'll not give you deed. See, there are a lot of deeds, so there are a lot of deeds. If someone is saying we will not give you deed, please let them be specific. Which deed are you giving me? Because most of the time, even especially when you're buying from customary owners or even some second generation owners, they will try to give you a deed of lease, which I used to hammer. Like I will keep on hammering it. Deed of lease does not give you a right to own the property. It doesn't transfer ownership to you. It just gives you right to occupy that property. You are not really owning that property. You are just occupying for a period of time. So when someone is saying they will give you deed, and then the deed they actually mean is deed of lease, did they even transfer that ownership to you? Or they just gave it to you and said that just hold it for a while? Do you get? So you need to really sit down with the person that really owns this property and has the right to transfer ownership to you. Say, Oga, I won't buy this property. I beg, what document will I collect? And they'll now say, okay, I will give you receipts. We'll give you, our lawyer will now prepare deed. Please ask them which deed. Please, oh, which deed? Is it deed of assignment or deed of lease? Most of the time, it's deed of lease that they even mean. Just tell them, please, oh, I don't want deed of lease. I'm not leasing that land. I want a deed of assignment. A deed of assignment. That is the legal document that transfers ownership from the assigner to the assignee, from the person you're buying from to the person that is buying. Deed of assignment, because most of the time when they say deed, they mean deed of lease. And in that deed of lease, there are going to be a lot of terms and conditions. Some deed of lease will tell you, you'll be paying money, pay money every week, every year. Did you really buy that land or did you lease the land? Which one you do? If after buying land, you will still be paying to the people that you bought from, are you really buying the land or are you leasing that land? That is typical lease. And that is not what you are buying. Like, whenever you are paying for a property, what you are actually paying for is the right to own. The right to own. That is what you are paying for. So you need to be sure that when you pay for that right to own, you are actually transferred the ownership of that property. This is very, very important because I can't count how many times I've got a lot of scenarios about this deed of lease, and they gave me deed of lease, and there are a lot of talk, a lot of terms and conditions in this deed of lease. I don't even understand from the get-go, even before you put down any money. Because what most things about buyers, that they will tell you what you want to hear. And if you don't ask good question and really drill to be sure that every term and condition is actually satisfied upon protest, you will just end up like being like, I pay for this thing and you now give me this one. We are meant to have talked about it even before you pay any money. You need to know what you're going to collect. Okay, that's like the two most important thing when it comes to ownership. Who owns this land and who is transferring this land to you? Most of the times, God, this is where the main problem is to start. This ownership. Once you don't buy from the right owner, oh God, wahala have started. The court case have started. So you really need to investigate the right owner. In our next class in due diligence, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to investigate for ownership, how to investigate for the documents to be sure that there is no form of encumbrance if you buy that land. How to investigate. There are at least four major due diligences you do before you buy a property. That's why I said, it's going to be a class on its own next week. Okay. So at this point, I just need you to ask questions about anything you need to understand about real estate or what we talked about today. I'll be expecting your questions on the comment section. I'll be listening to them and also giving your answers. Okay. So at this point, I just ask your questions and I'll be waiting. You can ask your questions now about what we talked about or any questions that have been bugging you about real estate. You really need to understand it. You can drop it right now in the comment section. Okay, we are already 30 minutes gone. And I say this class is not going to be more than 30 minutes, and then we'll answer questions. So this is the time to ask questions about anything that is your issue or your concern when it comes to real estate investments. Questions. So you don't have any questions? Okay, I see you. Super C, I see you. Okay, so before you collect deed of assignment, it's important to know the owner of the land. Yes, it is very important to know the owner of the land. Here is the reason. If someone does not have the right to transfer ownership, you have to have the right to own first, and right of occupancy, right of ownership and right of occupancy before you can be able to transfer ownership through a deed of assignment. So if the person does not have any ownership right or any occupancy rights, definitely the person cannot transfer ownership. So even if the person transfers ownership, it is regarded null and void. Okay, so if the land has survey, what do I do? Okay, so here is the thing. A survey or registered survey is not really like something that transfers ownership. It is an important thing every land should have. Every land should have a survey. What does a survey do? A survey shows the actual dimension and the actual size of the land. It also shows the unique beacon numbers of the land. So beacon numbers are numbers that are used to bond the land in 4 places or 5 places, depending. Okay, and these beacon numbers are always unique to a particular land. So if you go to search those beacon numbers, it is always unique to a particular land. No land have two beacon numbers. So the survey is just what is used to show the actual dimensions of your land, what is bounding it, and also the size, excuse me, and also the size of that land. Okay, so every land must have a survey. Every land must have a survey. Must. Can you see the questions? Maybe network. Okay, I've seen the questions. No, I've seen. I'm actually replying you now. Super C, do you understand? Do you understand? I see your questions. Okay. So, what is the difference between deed of assignment and deed of conveyance? I'm watching from PH and they offer, yes, yes, yes. In PH, Port Harcourt does deed of conveyance. Like I said, deed of assignment and deed of conveyance do the same thing. You just like the same thing, but in different states, they talk about it the same way, different ways. In Enugu, in the east, in Lagos, it is deed of assignment majorly. But coming to Port Harcourt, of course, I also operate in Port Harcourt, so I know Port Harcourt do deed of conveyance, but they have the same, they do the same thing. They transfer the same right of ownership. Okay, deed of conveyance transfer the same rights of ownership as deed of assignment. So they have the same similarities. Okay, I see you. If the land doesn't have survey, what do I do? Ha. If the land does not have survey, that means it's still like a very thick bush. And I mean, they have to, if someone wants to sell their land, the first thing is actually to do the survey. What are they selling to you? Is it throwing stone? Like, are they going to throw stone? Because if a land does not have survey and the people are not willing to do a survey, that means you have to get a survey to survey that land first. Because how can you actually know the dimension of your land? And if a land is not surveyed, it's not recognized though. It is still a customary land, that be heritage land. Yeah, it's called heritage. It is still an heritage land. If they are ready to sell, even people in the village know that once they want to start selling, once they want to start sharing their land to families or to brothers and sisters, the first thing is to go and survey that land. Even in the community, the first thing they do before they start sharing land in Nigeria, like in African culture, is to do the survey of that land. So everybody will have the survey of the land and they now know the size. So that everybody have equal size. Nobody will come and say, no, you are in my land tomorrow, or no, this one is not your land. Because if there is no survey, there is no way to know the dimension of that land, or even who owns and where the person's own starts. This is how wahala used to start though. They will now one day they will not no, you are 10 meters into my land, come out, and big wahala will start from 10 meters. So if land no get survey, please, there are a lot of land that have survey now. Okay, I see you. A real estate company offers a deed of conveyance without allocation of the property. Is it okay? I will do a serious series about really how to take real estate companies before investing in them. So any real estate company that is not big on allocation is a red flag. Okay? Any real estate company that is no big, like you've not seen them do an allocation and take it seriously, the allocation of their properties to the clients that bought it is a red flag. Because most of the times, it's either they don't have the right to actually, the right of ownership to that land. That is why they can't do the survey. Or they have oversold the property. So any real estate company that is not big on survey, on allocation, because when you get your documentation, the next thing is to go and see your land and get it physically allocated to you. So physical allocation is as important. Physical allocation is as important. Like when I sell a property for you and 3 months, I even need to see that you are very big on allocation before I even bring any people to buy your property. Because if you're not big on allocation, that means there is a serious red flag, a very serious red flag. I need to see that you do allocations, like you want to do it even if possible every month or every 3 months, that you are doing allocation. Any real estate company that is not big on allocation is a very big red flag. So when you get your documents, next thing is allocation. And once you are allocated, the next thing is taking possession of that land. That is constructing as little as anything at all, even if it's a dwarf fence, to bound your land. That is how you take possession. So anybody that is passing know that, this is somebody's land. You get that is like the next thing after allocation. And how can you take possession if you've not gotten allocation? So allocation is very, very important. Allocation is very important. Do you understand, Chinyere Wellington? Do you understand? Hello? So any other questions? Any other questions? Or do we call it a night? Any other questions for tonight? So this is for the people that are going to be watching this on replay. Okay, you're going to be replaying this after this live, and you have any questions, just send your questions to this number 081 2055 2218. Okay, this is for everybody that you have a question, or you just remembered even after the class that I wanted to ask this, so I forgot to ask it. You can simply just send it to this WhatsApp number and I will attend to it. Okay, do we have any other questions for tonight? Do we have any other questions for tonight? Okay. In the absence of no other questions, we are going to call it a night today. But next week, Monday, we are going to be having a deep dive on due diligence. This is very important. See, If you do due diligence right, and at each point a property is ticking the things you need to investigate in the due diligence, at each point of due diligence, as which I'm going to be explaining next week Monday, if a property is ticking each point of due diligence to the last point, it is a genuine property 100%. It is a safe buy. So how do you identify genuine properties? You need to do due diligence. So which due diligence are you going to be doing? That's what we are going to be discussing in our next class on Monday. Okay, so I'm going to be saying a good night tonight, but on Monday next week we are going to be having a deep dive on due diligence before purchase. Okay, thank you all for staying tuned today. It's always a beautiful moment here. It's always a beautiful moment coming on here. And with that said, I bid you all a very good night. Good night and bye bye.